Bonjour et bienvenue à Bonjour, Hello, Hola. In today's French lesson, we're going to learn about French adjectives. If you've ever wondered why French sometimes puts an adjective before a noun and sometimes after a noun, this lesson is for you. We'll learn where to place adjectives in French, how adjectives change for masculine and feminine nouns, how to make adjectives plural, and some of the most common adjectives you can use in everyday French. Don't worry if you're a beginner, we'll go step by step with lots of examples. Let's get started. First, what is an adjective? An adjective is a word that describes a person, place, animal, or thing. For example, in English, a small house. Small describes the house. In French, we say une petite maison. Here, petite means small. Or un grand chien, a big dog. Grand describes the dog. So just like in English, adjectives help us describe things. But French has two important rules that are different from English. First, the adjective may come before or after the noun. Second, the adjective usually needs to agree with the noun. Let's look at both of these rules. Let's start with placement. In English, adjectives usually come before the noun. We say a red car, a beautiful house, a small dog. French is a little different. Many adjectives come after the noun. For example, une voiture rouge, a red car. Literally, a car red. Une voiture rouge. The adjective rouge, meaning red, comes after voiture, meaning car. Another example, un chien noir, a black dog. Un chien noir. And une maison moderne, a modern house. Une maison moderne. So a very useful rule for beginners is many French adjectives come after the noun. Here are some more common examples. Un livre intéressant. Un film amusant. Un restaurant italien. Notice that the adjective comes after the noun each time. But there's an important exception. Some very common adjectives usually come before the noun. Let's look at those. Some adjectives describing things like beauty, age, goodness, and size often come before the noun. For example, grand, big or tall, petit, small or short, jeune, young, vieux, old, beau, beautiful or handsome, joli, pretty, bon, good, mauvais, bad. Let's look at some examples. Un grand chien, a big dog. Une petite maison, a small house. Un jeune homme, a young man. Une vieille voiture, an old car. Un beau jardin, a beautiful garden. Une jolie fleur, a pretty flower. Un bon restaurant, a good restaurant. Un mauvais film, a bad movie. Notice that these adjectives come before the noun. So you can think of it as a general beginner rule. Many adjectives come after the noun, but some common adjectives come before it. Let's compare a few. We already talked about une voiture rouge, a red car, but a small car would be une petite voiture. We said un film intéressant, an interesting movie, but a good movie is un bon film. We talked about a modern house, une maison moderne, but a beautiful house is une belle maison. The important thing is to learn common adjectives along with their usual placement. Now let's look at the second important rule, adjective agreement. In French, adjectives usually need to agree with a noun in gender and number. That means the adjective can change depending on whether the noun is masculine or feminine, singular or plural. Let's start with masculine and feminine. Take the adjective petit, small, with a masculine noun, un petit chien, a small dog, but with a feminine noun, une petite maison, a small house. Notice what happened? Petit became petite. We added an E to the end. This is one of the most common ways to make an adjective feminine. Let's look at another example. Un homme intelligent, an intelligent man. Une femme intelligente, an intelligent woman. Again, we add an E. Here's another one. Un étudiant français, a French male student. Une étudiante française, a French female student. The adjective changes from français to française. Now let's talk about plural. Usually to make an adjective plural, we add an S. For example, un petit chien becomes des petits chiens. Small dogs. You don't hear much of a difference, but when it's written, you're adding an S to petit. For feminine plural, une petite maison, a small house, would become des petites maisons, small houses. Again, you don't hear the difference, but you're adding an S to petite. Now, of course, there are always exceptions. Not every adjective simply adds an E to become feminine. Some adjectives change in different ways. So, for example, you have heureux, which means happy. For masculine, you'll see something like un homme heureux, a happy man. Feminine becomes heureuse, une femme heureuse, a happy woman. Another example is blanc, white. Masculine, un chat blanc. Feminine, une voiture blanche. The adjective changes from blanc to blanche. Here's another very common one. Beau, beautiful or handsome. Masculine, un beau jardin, a beautiful garden. Feminine, une belle maison, a beautiful house. Notice that beau becomes belle. These adjectives simply need to be learned as you encounter them. Don't worry about memorizing every exception today. As a beginner, focus first on the basic pattern of changing masculine to feminine to plural. And remember that some adjectives have special feminine forms. Now let's practice. I'll give you a sentence and give you a few seconds to choose the correct adjective. Number 1. How would you say a small house? The answer is une petite maison, because maison is feminine. Number 2. How would you say a big dog? The answer is un grand chien, because chien is masculine. Number 3. How would you say red cars? Because the noun is plural, so the adjective is going to be plural, so you'll have des voitures rouges with an S at the end. And finally, number 4, a beautiful house. The answer is une belle maison, because beau has the feminine form of belle and maison is feminine. Let's quickly review what we learned today. First, many French adjectives come after the noun. For example, une voiture rouge, a red car, un film intéressant, an interesting movie. But some very common adjectives come before the noun. For example, un grand chien, a big dog, une petite maison, a small house, un bon restaurant, a good restaurant. Try to remember the acronym BAGS, so beauty, age, goodness, and size, to help you remember which adjectives go before the noun. Second, French adjectives usually agree with the noun. They can change according to gender and number. For example, petit, petite, petit with an S, and petite with an S. And remember that some adjectives have irregular or special forms, such as beau becoming belle, blanc becoming blanche, and heureux becoming heureuse. The good news is that the more French you read and hear, the more natural these patterns will become. And that is it for today's lesson. If you found this lesson helpful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more easy French lessons. And if you'd like to practice what you've learned, try describing 5 things around you in French using adjectives. For example, une petite table, un grand livre, une voiture rouge. See you in the next lesson with Bonjour, Hello, Hola. À bientôt!